Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool arcade game video for you this evening. We've been working on all kinds of games lately, and this is one of the strangest that we've worked on in a while. So we figured we would film a video for you, our happy YouTube watcher, viewer, subscriber. This is Ice Games apostrophe Frenzy Express. This was made by Uniana, which I suppose is a foreign company that came up with this concept, and then ICE must have distributed it and possibly built it in the United States. So this came out a few years back and is a pretty interesting game. We'll show you all about it here in a second, and guess what? We'll also play it. Now, I'm not the greatest at playing these things, but you'll get the general idea. So imagine that this is your first time seeing this in the arcade. It'll be just like that. So the first thing you notice, of course, is it has this huge cabinet, and it has this kind of scooter-like platform on it, complete with handlebars. And a couple little things there you can kick, and what looks like the back wheel of a scooter and a brake. So that's interesting, and it kind of shows you what the game is going to be all about. So this has a copyright date up there on the marquee of 2001, and right there on the screen too. Uniana, all rights reserved. Now that may be pronounced different, I don't know. But it's certainly a cool cabinet. And games that are made by ICE have a pretty good reputation. ICE makes some pretty decent stuff. Maybe not as far as the players are concerned. I don't know. But as far as the operators are concerned, ICE enjoys a good reputation. The stuff's expensive to buy parts for, but that's generally because it's pretty high quality stuff. So like ice ball machines, they made Cyclone, I believe. Their crane machines are pretty nice, well built. So it's got this guy on the side who, I don't know what the heck's up with that, but it says, "Let's get on the kick scooter. Let's have a good time. Freestyle kick scooter racing." Go around to this side. This is a real piece of work here. Same on this side. Let's get on the kick scooter. Let's have a good time. Freestyle kick scooter racing. And it has handles on the side. One of these games, I can't remember which one it was. Was it this one? We were working on one the other day, and it was telling us that in the manual that to properly move it, get at least 8 people. Come on. We're not going to get 8 people to move this thing. So there is a platform there that you stand on that is actually, we took this all apart, cleaned everything. The brake wasn't working. We fixed it. One of the accelerator things wasn't working, so we bought new sensors and built a little bracket for it and all that and put it all back together. We took this all apart and put it all back together. I guess I should tell you where we got this. We bought a operator's hoard a few weeks ago, and this was one of the games in it. And it was an interesting game. We haven't really messed with this much, so I thought, hey, let's fix that baby up. It looks awesome. So tonight is the night when we have finished it up. But like I said, we took all of this apart. So I've been all through that thing. I know everything about that thing. If you have any questions about that thing, if you've got one, just put them down below and I'll probably answer you and tell you what I know about that thing. So it's got this fake scooter built into it, but they did a really cool job. So they went way out of their way to do interesting things. Like this is a metal platform, but if you look, it has just a little bit of give. Can you see that? The reason it has a little bit of give is because there are these big heavy-duty motor mounts mounted under it. So like on a car engine, the engine weighs whatever, 1,000 pounds or whatever it is, 800 pounds. And the motor mounts that go under the engine are these big pieces of rubber or polyurethane, and there's metal fused to both sides. Well, the purpose of that is so that it takes away a little bit of the vibration, but the way they're using it on this is they put those on there so that you can stand on the thing, and then they've mounted a motor to the bottom of this that just has a weight on the end of it. So when that motor comes on, it starts slinging a weight around, and when the weight swings around, it makes it vibrate a little bit. So it's just a like a feedback thing to make you shake a little bit while you're standing on the thing. And then it's also got these two rollers, one on each side, so that you can play it left-handed or right-handed, whichever you prefer. So basically you just roll it backwards with your foot, you kick it, and when you do, there's a little wheel over here that turns through a sensor, or a couple sensors, that can tell how fast you're doing it, and it translates on screen. Now on screen, I don't think it really matters how fast you do it. I don't think it makes you go faster if you make the wheel go faster. If you hit it more often, I think it will make you go faster though. And then on the back, they have this cool little brake system that they've made. So there is a wheel, which I assume is a real scooter wheel, mounted in there with a little metal pin through it. And then there's a little metal pin through this thing. And the way you hit the brake is you like push down on it with your foot. And it's on a spring, and it makes a little metal piece go up through a sensor, and it can tell when you've hit that. And there's two positions to it, so if you just hit it a little bit, it's like medium, and if you hit it all the way down, it's full. So the brake can tell how hard you're pressing the brake, but it's not analog, it's just there's two positions. And then up here on the front, you have this metal casing that's covering this post goes down in there into a gear. When the gear turns, it turns a little potentiometer so that it can tell which way you're facing. Now there's not too much movement in the handle, just a little bit, but there is a huge motor on the bottom of that thing so that it gives you like a forced feedback. Some people call it force feedback, which some companies called it that, and then some companies called it forced feedback. So it can either be F-O-R-C-E feedback or F-O-R-C-E-D feedback. Different companies call it different things. I kind of like forced feedback just because it sounds cool. We also put new grips on it. And then the one last thing that we did, well, we did a couple other things, but the last cosmetic thing we did is they have this really cool design where it's almost like a speaker box is built behind these two plastic panels, and then there is a light bulb in there, but the freaking light bulb is a 220 volt bulb. So and I looked and I thought surely there's some way to make that 110. You could hack it all up and make it 110, but it was designed where you were supposed to put a 220 volt bulb in it. So we ordered some LED 220 volt bulbs and got them in, and they look great. As a matter of fact, let me turn off the lights and I'll prove it to you. Look at that, folks. In my opinion, it's a really good looking game. It looks a little bit like the Dance Dance Revolution stuff just because it has the platform in front of it and it has the speakers down low. So they were definitely going for that look. I don't know when the first Dance Dance Revolution came out. But this came out in 2001 and has a fantastic look. So the top just says Frenzy Express, has the cool artwork. 2001 Uniana Company Limited, all rights reserved. And there is ICE's logo. And so around the monitor, it says, you can't really see it. There you go. Freestyle Kick Scooter Racing. And then on the left side here, which you may not be able to see, it says let's get on the kick scooter. And then on the right side it says let's have a good time. Let me turn the lights back on. Very colorful screens, got a lot going on. Down at the bottom, caution, inappropriate or excessive use of force may cause accidents or injury. Real experience. Caution, when playing, please be aware of your surroundings. So they put that on there, right? That's a decision somebody made. Somebody said, well, you know what we should do? We should put a label on the machine that says, caution, when playing, please be aware of your surroundings. And then somebody who was farther up the chain than them said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's put a sign on the machine that says, caution, when playing, please be aware of your surroundings. Because in their brain, at least two people, which we've already determined it must have been at least two people, right? At least two people thought that kids were going to see this thing, walk up to it, stand right there, and then look and read the thing and say, caution, when playing, please be aware of your surroundings, and go, oh, that's a good point. Instead of playing with this super cool scooter setup, and kicking the pedals, slapping the buttons, and stomping on the brake, I should be more cognizant of whether or not I'm aware of my surroundings. But for whatever reason, they put that sticker on there. Maybe they got out of some kind of lawsuit because of that. How to play. Select the player. Choose the roller, so you can choose left-handed or right-handed. 3, stop at the area to get a mission. Now, is this starting to sound familiar? 4, will appear when an arrow is followed. 5, when returned to area within the time limit, the mission will conclude. Additional points and playtime will be earned. 6, enjoy the game by performing new missions. Tip: while carrying out the mission, bonus time can be earned by jumping off the ramps and acquiring items. Gotcha. Okay, and so then there's a start button that's flashing because we have it on free play. There's 2 select arrows. And then over here, how to operate. Changing your foot during gameplay. What? Left and right. Stop. Rotate the roller after stopping. So I guess if you stop somewhere, you can start off on the other foot if you want. It says after stop imig. And this is the original stuff, people. We did not replace this. How to operate. Rotate the roller to move forward, and the way you do it is you kick it backwards in the direction of the arrow. You don't go forward with it. It's just like you're riding a scooter. Rotate the roller to move forward. Use the handle to change direction. Use the brake to stop. Item. So you've got a water bottle, or water whatever, that is a speed up. You got, are those shoes that speed you up? You've got a time up, which is a clock or an alarm clock. And then your bonus score is pennies or dollars. So one of the other things we did, the monitor, we recapped. It looks fantastic. It was already working though when we got it, but it looks great. I believe it's the original monitor, but it's a Vision Pro 219, I think it said VNP-219A, I believe is what it said. Never heard of it. But I gotta say, it's got a fantastic picture. I'm not even sure if it's VGA or not. I think it is because it's coming right off of the video card. It might be going through a converter or something. So I'm not sure, but it looks VGA to me. I don't even think it's medium res. I think it's a VGA. So we got that going on. It looks fantastic, but like I said, it was already working. And then the other thing that we did was when we got it, the computer wasn't working right. So it has a really interesting computer in this that has just a regular kind of motherboard inside of a custom case that they built. The motherboard was beeping, which ended up being that the RAM wasn't being read. So we cleaned the RAM and put it back in, and everything worked fine. It has a hard drive in it, except it's a solid state hard drive, which I am so happy they did that. I've seen other versions of this online that had an actual, disk drive, hard drive, like a typical, what do they call it, IDE hard drive. Is that what they call it? The one with the platters, like a typical hard drive. But this one actually had a solid state device that plugs in where the hard drive would plug in, and had this loaded on it. So fantastic. All right, so I'm going to set up the tripod and we'll play it a little bit. I'll basically just put it on the screen, but whenever you hear this sound, that's me kicking. And when you hear this sound, that's me stomping. And when you hear this sound, that's me turning. And I think it goes whenever it's fighting you turning. About this here, I got to show you one more thing. When we started working on it, when we took it all apart, we found this down inside of it. This weighs probably 30 pounds at least. This is the setup that is in the that the shaft attaches to. So this is the motor. That's the feedback motor I was talking about. It's attached to this belt, and so whenever it wants to fight you, it does this, whoa, right? And notice the stops here, these rubber stops, which keeps the handle from turning too far. You can just turn a little bit, okay? And when it turns, I don't know how the pot attaches, but basically there's a potentiometer that's involved in this too, and that's how it tells where you're going. But here's the whole thing. When we first started working on it, we were fixing the game. We didn't have the platform here. It was in storage. And so I was thinking, why is the motor of this whole thing inside the game? Man, that's weird. And then I noticed this. Somebody, somehow, completely broke the shaft off of this thing. Completely broke the shaft off of it. And so we were a little worried because it was in the guy's storage shed or storage building. We were thinking, oh man, we ain't never going to fix that thing. And remember, this is an ICE game. And what did I tell you about ICE a few minutes ago? Their parts are very expensive. But they bought the whole assembly, and that platform had an entire other assembly in it that worked great. It could just be that they had two games and they stole the part out of the other one or something. But they had that up inside of it, I guess, in case the motor ever went bad, you could swap the motor. Or if the belt broke or something, you could swap the belt. But yeah, somebody really went, you know, ham on that thing and broke the steering column off of it. So let's hope nobody does it again. Okay, I'm going to show you something that you usually don't see. I'm going to take you into the operator menu just so you can see what that's like. So, here we are. So there's the in-out check, which, you know, you can see the right going up as I hit the right pedal. You can see the left going up as I hit the left pedal. You can see the brake going up to the middle, and then all the way as I hit the brake pedal. You can see the steering going left and right. Look at that, people. This thing is rocking and rolling. Left select, right select, service button, test button, and start button, right? Okay, lamp check. Yeah, it's nothing really great. The left foot and the right foot, there must have been another version of the cabinet because this particular game doesn't have any kind of wiring or sockets or anything underneath the left and the right foot pads. Screen check is it's just showing you, you know, how to get your basically your alignment, your geometry right. Color check. So this is, like, to me, this is really useful. If you're going to set up your monitor, this screen here is awesome for that because basically you want to get your black, and you turn off the lights and get really close to it to where you can tell that the black is black. And you should see over on the left side of all of the colors some black, right? And then you should have a gradient from white to black. So in the middle here you've got a gray. That's your best place to mix the colors. You want the blue, see how the blue fades out about right here? This probably looks different to you because you're on the other side, but about right here the blue fades out, and the green and the red. That's because they're mixed really well. So if you adjust those just right, your white will look really white, and then the most important place is your gray. If that gray looks a little purple, then you need more green because you've got too much red and blue. It makes purple. If it's if it looks a little too yellow, then that's because you've got too much red and green. You need a little more blue. And you can kind of tell by looking at the gray area right here, about halfway in between, where it starts getting dark. You can look at that color there and figure out which one of these colors you need more of. And normally they should all be about the same length, and all of those adjustments you make on the actual monitor. Sound options. So sound output stereo only. Sound in attract mode is turned completely off. Let's see if you can put it on where it's always on during attract mode. So in some arcades, like if you're just rocking and rolling in the arcade and it's at a family fun center and you just want that place as noisy as possible, then you turn on the sound all the time. You want it to constantly be making sound in attract mode because you're trying to attract people to put money in it. Or you can do it if you've got it in a location where you don't want it to be quite as crazy. Maybe every 4 times it goes through the attract mode, it'll make sound. Or you can have it completely off. So like in our store here, we don't want a bunch of games like constantly making noise. 1, it would drive us crazy, and 2, that's just not the since we sell them and we don't really operate them, that's not the atmosphere that we're really looking for. So volume setting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it way up, and then there's also a volume knob, so we'll see what those bass speakers sound like on the front. I'm going to put it back on 80 because I don't want it to go, I don't want the software setting to be completely maxed out. Alright, so I'm going to turn up, and the reason that it's white is because that's the factory setting. So I'm going to turn up the knob, let's see what we got. Alright, so we're going to leave it like that so that it sounds good for the video. But it's a little loud for in here. Game options, it's on medium, medium hard, hard, very hard, hardest, easiest, very easy, easy. We're going to put it on medium. Show instruction that, basically little bubbles pop up and tell you what you should be doing. Intro language can be English or Korea or Japan. That's cool. Vibration on or off. Wow, it just did it. Let me try it again. Yeah, that's so cool, man. The whole skateboard vibrates. That's pretty sweet. All right, coin options. We've got it on free play. That's calibration is just to set the controls, but it does it when the game boots up too, so you really don't have to mess with that. Bookkeeping. Okay, total coins. It's had 44,000 coins in it, which means it's made $11,000. And the guy was operating it up until we've got it, and we've probably put maybe 20 or 30 credits on it. So he made $11,000 off of it. But you have to remember, and that's assuming that it was operated the whole time. You have to remember though that all of that would have been split in half with the location. So the location would have got $5,500 of that. So yeah. Now, it's possible too that they cleared the coin meter at some point. I wonder if there's one inside too. There is one inside. Let me see what the one inside says. Hold on a second. The meter inside. Okay. Yeah, the meter inside says 42,813. So the bookkeeping one says a little bit higher, which is probably accurate because the hardwired meters, whenever you get them, usually they're not actually on 0. They're a little before that, but I don't know about 200 before it, or 2,000 before it, but whatever. So both of them are fairly close. So it's probably accurate. So he made $11,000 off the machine. We know he had at least one serious malfunction where the handle got broke off. And then he gave half of the money that the machine made to the location. Split's usually 50-50. So he made $5,500 off of this machine. We got it very inexpensively. We didn't give him anywhere near even a small piece of that, right? So he didn't make any money back selling it. So he made $5,500. I don't know the cost of this thing originally, but he probably paid that or maybe a little more for it originally, or whoever did, you know. So somebody lost some money. It could be that one operator had it for 35,000 of those plays and made most of their money back, and then sold it for $1,000 and recouped everything that they had in it. And then this last guy never made his $1,000 back or something like that. But it's interesting, right? And so you can hit all factory settings and it sets everything back to normal, or you can put it in game mode. All right, so let's play it a little bit. Now, like I said, I'm not that great at this, people, but we can try it, right? So use the dash buttons to start. Handle. Accelerator. Brake. Russell. Joel. Gail. Ellen. Let's be the big guy. Gail. Okay, so it's yeah. We need 15 grand. Oh no! How the hell do you get up there? Oh no! We gotta talk about it for a minute without the sound. All right, so you can see that there is an obvious rip-off going on here of Crazy Taxi. I mean, it's exactly like Crazy Taxi, except you don't pick up anybody. So this is 2001, And I'm wondering, when did Crazy Taxi come out? It would have been right before this, surely. Now, it could be this game is before Crazy Taxi, but I don't think so. Crazy Taxi was on the Dreamcast, and I remember all the Dreamcast games were like the 2K1 games, which would have been 2000. So if Crazy Taxi was a launch game or came out, you know, the first year of the Dreamcast, then Crazy Taxi came out first. And Crazy Taxi is a better... It makes more sense because you've got a taxi and you're picking people up and taking them places, so it makes more sense. This one, you're picking up like an item that they give you and then taking it wherever they tell you to take it. So, but it's clearly a Crazy Taxi ripoff. Let's play it again.
Select player. Okay, let's have a good time.
Oh, that's the guy from the side.
Choose the rolling pedal.
Oh no! Whoa! Whoa!
Hurry up, hurry up.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hurry up, hurry up.
I'm even on time.
You're not any different than other people.
Where's my next mark? Take it to the money cave. Oh no, I'm dead.
Hurry up, hurry up.
This is nothing.
I don't know you can get next time.
Yeah, you do that.
Hand it over. No time to waste. Get quickly.
Hurry up, hurry up. Oh, nice.
Oh no.
I'm back and almost on time. No time to waste. Get quickly. Are you crazy? No.
Stupid arrow. Stupid car. Stupid bench. Bench. B-E-N-C-H.
Hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up, hurry up.
I'm really sorry.
Time over.
Oh.
Game over.
All right, folks. Well, there you go. I think it's a cool game. Like I said, it's just like Crazy Taxi, though. We've got to get a Crazy Taxi in now so that we can compare the two and see what all Frenzy Express ripped off. But if it means anything, we've got a game store here and we sell video games in. And we finished this up earlier today. And so it's been sitting here in the store just in a track mode like this, and it says free play. So we had a family come in a little bit ago, guy and his wife and their 2 little girls. So one of the little girls was about 9 or 10, and the other one was about 6. And they loved it. They just kept playing it, and you know, nobody was talking to them. We just let them do whatever they wanted to do, and they came over here and they figured out that it was on free play. And so the oldest girl got up on the thing. She's like, "Oh, cool, a scooter game." I think she asked her dad if she could play it first, and he said yeah. And so, "Oh, cool, a scooter game." Now remember, this thing is nearly 20 years old, right? And so whenever it starts, it says how to play, and it shows you what you do. And so the little girl watched it, so this part. And so she watched it, and she was talking to her little sister who was standing there watching her. And so she played it for a while. And I don't think they figured out that you're supposed to stop for the people. They just thought you were supposed to race through it, you know. So they were just racing as fast as they could because it's free range. You can go wherever you want. And so they were just, you know, I guess you get 60 seconds or whatever. So they were just hauling it, man, as fast as they could and seeing how quick they could go and doing some of the jumps, because whenever you go over a ramp, you just automatically jump. And whenever the little girl got done, she said, "Okay, now it's your the other little girl was so excited, and so she started playing. And then whenever she was done, she was like, "Okay, it's your turn." And so the bigger girl got back on it, and then she said, she told her, you gotta hit the pedal. So the one little girl was pushing the pedal while the other girl was steering and stuff. So it just goes to show you, to us, it's kind of a ripoff of Crazy Taxi. So your adult brain would go, "Oh, well, why the hell would you play this? They're just making money off of Crazy Taxi." To a kid, they don't think about that. They just see it. Oh, it's cool. Look, there's handlebars. You can stomp on the pedal, and they liked it. They had a good time playing it. And hey, isn't that what it's all about? So let us know if you ever played this back in the day. Leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for filming it. And if you're ever looking to buy games, remember you can see all of our games we have for sale on our website. Go to lionsarcade.com, or you can stop by and see us. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is about 15 miles south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're always messing around with games like this. And we usually do the older ones, but like I said, this thing's 20 years old. It's as old now as Pac-Man was whenever we started doing this. So this is the new classic, I guess, right? Probably won't hold up quite like Pac-Man has, but to some people, they will have fond memories of this from when they were younger. Stop by and see us if you're local. Check out our website if you're looking to buy a game, or just subscribe to us here on YouTube. Every time we get one of these games in, we film a little video of it if it's something that we haven't filmed before that's interesting like this. It's fun to us, and we will see you on the next video.